Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bahashim, Thakudash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone True Well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to Zadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. I'm the priest Shaman. Lord willing, what I want to speak about today is I want to do a response to the Alex Jones trial. Just speaking on a few things that Ryan Dawson, he was going over concerning the Alex Jones thing, and it made me think about our situation. And if you're not familiar, Alex Jones is a famous quote-unquote conspiracy advocate for certain things that, that happened throughout the United States. Like examples, 9/11, what they pressed him on was a Sandy Hook one, which I want to speak on too, and Ryan Dawson also speak about it when I was watching it on Odyssey, and different other conspiracies. But the thing with Alex Jones is sometimes he go overboard to the point where it's almost like gaslighting when you speak about a situation. Like for example, like if you try to really go into like what happened with 9/11, and some person's telling you, oh, it's aliens, and other people's telling you it's holograms, it's pretty much the theories become so far-fetched that you can't make a valid argument as to really why that situation happened and who was involved. So Alex Jones is one of the contributors to that, and one of the reasons I believe he contributes to it personally is because this trial reveals how much Alex Jones is worth, and his net worth, liquid assets, 79 million or 280 million. There was some reports saying he was making $850,000 a day. Why? Because he was feeding into certain conspiracies. And one of the things that he got screwed up with, and his lawyers kind of fucked him over on certain things concerning giving out his information. They kind of screwed up there. But one thing they show is this guy was making like at one point $850,000 a day. So how is he making that money? He's getting contributions. And typically, just like any church or any organization, all right, when you tell people smooth things, when you tell people what they want to hear, all right, they'll stick around. But if there's certain things you might tell them that might piss them off, they'll leave. That's how come we always get on churches or camps like the IUIC, or namely the IUIC, because they allow things like dreads, they allow things like shape-ups, they allow things like long hair, they allow things like women in the midst of things. Why? Again, to keep that bag circulating. And as you can see with Alex Jones, it was the same thing with him. Now, the guy is not a stupid guy. He's not a full-blown idiot dude, right? But there's certain things that was just completely far-fetched. But his conspiracy, the people that were pumping the money behind it, wanted him to go that direction, even if you necessarily don't think it's bullshit. So yeah, they pressed him on Sandy Hook, which was that shooting that happened in New Jersey, and he tried to say it was a hoax. But there's layers to it. 2 Corinthians 2:11, be not ignorant of Satan's devices. There's layers to it, where there's a statement that says, let not one of these devils said, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Meaning, they can use a natural event, like something that, like a random person shooting up something, like generally a random person shooting it up, and then Obama can say, they could put out something that Obama's going to take away your guns. Now, you there running, even though somebody just naturally went crazy, now you there running, putting together a video saying, see, it was actors, and it was acting to take away your guns, really, when real people died. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, we gotta, as much as there's a lot of stuff going on, it's heavy, man. It's like you really have to filter your information. Prime example, when 2019, everybody was required to download Windows 19 on their computer. You have to be mindful about the information you put out concerning that particular Windows 19, because some people were saying it's this thing is really destroying everybody's computer. Some people were saying, nah, that don't affect your computer, but in actuality, it was a real thing for the computer, all right? But they blow it out of proportion. So you got to really balance the information that you take in. You can't just rush and do a show on every single thing you see, all right? Because you know what also came to mind? The same way they put Alex Jones on trial, guess what, brothers? They have loads and loads of our videos. And those YouTube say they deleted our videos, all right? We know that really is stored on the cloud somewhere, you know? So we do have to be mindful and use wisdom in the things that we say, because, look, man, there's going to come a time and period where we are going to be put on trial. Hell, it happened to our apostles years ago when that whole 9/11 thing happened. Next thing you know, they were locked up and on trial. So don't think it's out the realm of them, for whatever reason, whatever prime example, the MOTB being the CHI, the MOTB being the RFID CHIP, you know? There's a lot of things that we speak against that will be labeled as sedition, all right, going against the government. When really we just speak in the scriptures, but they can label us as this, label us as that, all right? And they're going to have videos of us, you know? We put ourselves out there on the YouTube, so we have to be mindful of what they say to us. Now, the scriptures tell you that the Lord said, look, man, take no thought of what you're going to say, you know, because the Lord will, you know, work things out with faith for us, you know, in those situations. But at the same time, we have to be circumspect, you know, constantly looking around, constantly observing things, you know. And that's one observation I made. I'm like, wait a minute, they put this dude on trial, locked him up and all that, and he has bread, and you know, he's still gonna have to pay probably like $47 million or whatever. But they'll go after your ass, man. You know, they'll go after you. You see, they'll definitely go after you if they want you, and you know, they wanted him. You know, in fact, the judge, they was bringing this out on the Ryan Dawson thing. The judge was a staunch Democrat. Like, you go on the judge's Twitter page, it was like, make sure everybody's Democrat and all that. And Alex Jones, he doesn't necessarily lean left or right, but he mainly lean more to the right because of the traditional values that the conservatives have and such like that, you know. So when we get put on them stands, them judges, them people, nobody's gonna be on our side, man. You know, and it shows you the severity of what we're dealing with. This is not just a hangout or something to do with the cool. This is deadly serious, man. You know, and we have to consider this now in our minds, that this thing is deadly serious. You can't be, you know, when these things come to pass, holy shit, man, I wasn't prepared for this. Nah, man, your mind has to be prepared for this thing at all time. All right, the things to come. You see? Because what does Revelations 2:10 says? All right? The devil shall cast some of us into prison, and we shall have tribulation 10 days or a period of time. You know? I'm not saying every single last member that's teaching is going to be cast into a prison, but I'm saying don't rule yourself out as a possibility to be put on the stand for the situation, to be locked up for the word. You know? Kind of like, I'm kind of like this dude with a war. I'm just on one topic as of late. But at least when I'm doing it, it's edifying concerning going through hell. You know? As you can see right now, a majority of brothers are going through a fiery trial. And if you saw the previous lesson, I was saying the Lord really got us to where we have to go through things alone, where brothers can't necessarily help with every single thing. Why? Because they're also in jams, you know? And that's why the Lord, I believe, is putting us all through this thing at the same time, because in all my amount of time in the truth, all right, I did not see this much brothers going through this much hell all at the same time. Normally, you know, it's 2 or 3 brothers, you can bail one brother out, but the Lord is putting pressure on the majority of the camp to where you have to walk this thing through walk certain situations and figure out things on your own, by yourself right now, man. And when I say by yourself, I mean throwing up your praise in your house, and praying that your situation works out, and figuring out ways as being men, all right, to deal with our own problems, you know. Because guess what? When all hell breaks loose and they do whatever they have to do, whether they crash the computer systems or whatever, or here in New York shuts off bridges, you know, you're not going to be able to, hey, help me out with this. Hey, can you get me out of this, you know? So we also have to prepare our mind for that. You know, enjoy the brotherhood while you can, fellowship with the brothers while you can, but there's going to come situations where you might not have a brother around you, man. You know? Micah, I believe it's Micah 7, verse 1-3. What did he say? I am like the grape cleaner, designed one of the sincere ripe fruit. He was designed a sincere grape like himself. All right? He called himself a grape cleaner because, you know, men of the Lord are likened unto grapes. All right? But he was like, pretty much, I'm like, after you pick off all the grapes, after you pick off all the first fruits of the grapes, you have to leave a little bit for the poor. And when they collect that little bit of grape left, it's called gleaning. So he's like, I'm like that. Like, I don't see much men like me in my situation. All right? As you already know, it's always just going to be a finite amount of men chosen, all right, to be prophets of the Lord and endure, all right? So even amongst us, it's a finite number, all right? But even when all hell breaks loose, it could even be more finite. You know, that's why the Lord is saying what he says, man, that through much tribulation shall we enter the kingdom of heaven. You know, and then this thing is not going to be an easy trial. And, you know, it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be a cakewalk, man, all right? For majority of believers, okay? So, hey, man, our minds have to be mentally fortified, you know? So, yes, brothers, we have to be mindful of the things that we say. That's how come, as of late, we've been speaking a lot of code words. Not just because, you know, for the video staying up sake, all right, but to be mindful of this crafty devil. Because, again, they use a lot of what Alex Jones said right back at his ass, man. You know? Because he went overboard. Look, not everything that happened was scripted by the government. There's certain things that just naturally happen. There's certain people that just naturally lose their fucking mind and do things, all right? Now, what the government would do is say, wait a minute, how can we use that to further our agenda? We can't let this crisis go to waste, all right? And at the same time, the so-called white man can sprinkle disinformation, man, telling us some super absurd things. Like, wait a minute, that's happening? So let's say it's because of this, and they make the shit up, you know? And then, you know, so it's some crazy runaway theory, you know? It's some crazy runaway theory, but now you have different people biting on it and making money off of it, so they're going to keep running with the theory. And all of these was a bunch of confusion, because there's many different theories of as to what you think happened, but when you get to the real source of the issue and the real practical people behind it, now you can't speak about it because you're just another theory in the bucket, you know? So the so-called white man, he's very wise, man. He's very crafty, you know? Scriptures in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, tells us that he's the most subtle beast of all the field. So he's always playing 3D, 4D chess. Well, he's playing 3D chess, you know? The Most High plays the 4D chess, you know? But no matter what, no matter how amount of craft the so-called white man does, or deception, or lock brothers up, or this, that, and the third, you can't do nothing against the truth, and you can't run away from your judgment. You know, Esau, so-called white man, he can't run away from what's to come. And what's to come, according to the scriptures. Well, Isaiah 14:1, verse 1 to 3, talking about the Lord bringing us back captive. All right, his elect, his chosen people, saints of the Heavenly Father. Psalms 148, the last 2 verses. Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. One, the Lord grafting us back onto him, making us captive back onto him, as the scripture says in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. All right, turning back our captivity. That's one. You can't stop that. There's Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, the 5th verse to the 7th verse tells you that the Lord is going to turn the curses that was once upon us and put them back on the nations. All right, including captivity, including slavery for the so-called white men. All right, going through hell, all that. See, the Lord's going to turn it around, and heathens now are going to have to go through the curses. That's one. Two, all right, there's no mercy promise for your ass, so-called white man. Obadiah, the book of Obadiah, the whole book of Obadiah is dealing with the coming judgment of Esau and Edom. All right? And 3, and that when I say 3, I don't mean and lastly, okay? Yahweh shall ruling. Okay, the 3rd thing, Yahweh shall ruling. Okay, and us being joint heirs. Because the kingdom to come is promised for Yahweh shall, which is the so-called black man. This is very important, man. All right? Revelations, the 1st chapter, the 15th verse. All right, describing the color of our Lord. This is very important because you know what? That plays a psychological effect on our people. All right, and the so-called white man, Job 9:24, have covered the faces of the judges, the Most High himself, and his son Yahweh Shah, the angels, and the people of the Lord as himself. So that's why wherever he goes, he's reverenced, right? Because our people have a spiritual tie to the Most High. You know, our people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they're spiritual people. They believe in a higher power. The scriptures tell you that they have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. So they always believe in a higher power, All right, but if they see a higher power always associated with a so-called white man, or old cracker, or whatever like that, guess what? When they see those people, they're gonna see them in some sort of reference to them, man. You know, that's how come they do things like bleach their skin, dye their hair blonde, get blue eyes, because they see that as superior to what they are. When really the superior thing is to have white woolly hair like the Lord, melanin, you know. You see? But that's the condition, and that's the witchcraft of the so-called white man that he's done, man. You know? So these prophecies that I just mentioned are all throughout the scriptures. The Lord coming back to rule, America being destroyed, Isaiah 66 and 15. All right? The Lord coming back to take vengeance. All right? And the MOTB, which I pray happens very soon. The MOTB being the RFID, CHIP, and Joe Biden tweeted out a tweet that said America is going to be the leading country, all right, in chip technology, man. All the pieces are being set up. If you can't see it, then the Lord truly has blinded you, all right. But these prophecies are so in your face that it's hard to gainsay against them, man. But people will gainsay anyways. You know, people will gainsay anyways, but let them gainsay, fuck it, you know. Romans 3 and 3 is that Romans 3 and 3? For their unbelief, shall the unbelief, I believe it's Romans 3 and 3, Shalaki brothers, you know. But shall their unbelief pretty much negate the words of the Most High? Alright? Absolutely not. Okay? 2 Ezra 15 and 3. It speaks about their incredulity or their unbelief. You know? Both scriptures work in tandem, pretty much saying the Most High don't give a fuck what these people believe, man. Alright? These prophecies are set in stone. In fact, they already happened. We're just playing them out. Okay? It's already set in stone. The Most High has declared the end from the beginning. You know? Who is he that's saying to come to pass? Lamentations. Who is he that? Lamentations 3 and 37. Who is he that's saying to come to pass if the Most High commanded it not? Alright? So the Most High said these things are going to come to pass. They're going to happen, man. Alright? And as soon as that MOTB get implemented on a major scale, alright, which is right around the corner, no one very soon, okay, then guess what? It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Right after that, you're going to have World War III. We're going to finally get our salvation, man. We're praying that the Lord hasten that day to come, man, because you know what? As the Apostle of the Ram says, like nothing can really give you happiness, can give you joy in this world. Nothing, man. Nothing. Like knowing what we know, nothing can really give you a sound happiness, a sound peace of mind, a sound rest. Hell, man, you go on vacation, you try to have a good time, but guess what's in the back of your mind? Well, man, I have to come back to work. You know? And I'm talking about for us in the truth. These people in the world that bent over to Satan and gave their life to Satan, they're having a blast. They're having the time of their life. They don't want this thing to end. You know? They fully invested, but to the ones that applied Micah 2 and 10, which have departed their minds out of Babylon, alright? And acquired the knowledge, the scripture says, with much knowledge come much grief. The more you understand the scriptures and how things are supposed to be, and you look at the world around you, and the situation and predicament you're in, and pursuant to Proverbs 4 and 7, you gain understanding of why you're going through it. Guess what? It becomes more grievous, alright? It becomes in your belly, or really your mind when it says belly, bitter. You see? It becomes bitter, man. So bitter that many individuals can't take the bitterness. Like, damn, this shit's too bitter. I need some sweetness. You know? But bitter herbs are good, man. Alright? Because it's better to go in the house of mourning than the house of feasting. See? So this knowledge, this understanding, and knowing what the hell is going on is like bitter herbs for your spirit. But guess what? You know right from wrong now. You know? You're not just going to go out there and commit adultery and get your rocks off. You don't care if she got a man. Alright? You're not going to do certain things. You're not going to go out in the world and do bullshit. Alright? You're not going to give up morals. Alright? For a job. You see? Like these people in the world do. Now, navigating through the world does become a bit more difficult when you're living your life by morals, but at the end of the day, the Lord got us, man. The Lord, all we need, 1 Timothy 6 chapters, our daily bread. 1 Timothy 6 says, godliness with contentment is great gain. See? And that's one thing we have to learn to be, man, content with what the Lord gives us, It's always good to, if you could possibly level up without, I'm just talking about straight up, you work in, you get a higher position, that's cool, all right? But I'm talking about giving up your morals to get more. It's wicked, man. I'm not talking about if you, busting your ass on a job and you get a promotion. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that give up their morals, give up their dignity, all right, for that goddamn talisman, the FRN, them dollar bills, man. Because then you're not content with what the Lord provided for you, man. So that was my quick in transit, man. Hey, brothers, let's be mindful of what we say. We saw that they already put this dude Alex Jones on trial, so be mindful of the things we say, try to word our words correctly, and prepare for that hour. Prepare for that hour when we're going to be in the same seat. With that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Ruchakadash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Remos on Truel. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there, you Akim to Sadakim, that do this thing that most truth and sincerity. Shalom.